Hi, my name is Amin. I'm a graduate student at Columbia University, and today I'm going to present my accepted paper in WACV 2021 titled Neuron Matching in C. elegans with Robust Approximate Linear Regression Without Correspondence. So to give you a quick bit of background, um, here is why we're interested in solving this problem. So C. elegans is a transparent worm with 302 neurons in its nervous system. Its whole connectome is known, so the connectivity between the neurons inside the nervous system, and its whole genome is sequenced. Moreover, it also possesses a rich behavioral repertoire, and these are the reasons that people in neuroscience are really interested in studying this animal for various reasons, including but not limited to developmental research, as well as disease and translational research, and also cell level and systems and circuit level research, trying to understand how the activity of the neurons inside the C. elegans gives rise to its behavior. So one of the current bottlenecks in analysis of the images of C. elegans is that once we take these images, you're interested in registering this image onto an atlas of neuronal positions. So here I'm showing you the already existing atlas of neuronal positions, and this is an example image that we take from this animal. And we're interested in registering and identifying the neuronal identities. Um, and um, and this is a hard and challenging problem because first of all, the images are noisy, and we see a lot of bright spots in the image that any detection algorithm could potentially identify these as potential neurons. But for example, this green spot here, this is not a neuron. This is just a biological artifact that we're not really interested in. So this is what we call structured outliers. That the outliers are not just uniformly distributed in space, but they have some structure in them. And finally, we might actually have missing data as well. So there might be some of the neurons that do exist in this atlas, but do not exist in this image. So this is a distinction that we made between outliers and missing data. So here are the four scenarios that I just talked about. So either we have the full correspondences. Every point in X has a correspondence in one point to one point in Y. The case B is where we miss some of the correspondences. So the point set Y does not have some of the points that are in point set X. And case C is where we have outliers, meaning that there are some points in Y that have correspondences in X, but there are some points that do not have any correspondences. And finally, we have the case of adversarial outliers, meaning that so here for example, I'm showing um, um, like an image of two worms, for example, if you're interested in registering this atlas onto one of these point sets. So here I've included a very high-level summary of the existing methods. There are some methods that are locally optimal, which, for example, ICP and CPD, methods that are based on deep learning approaches, and I've included some examples here. They require training, and they do not necessarily provide the globally optimum solution. And random sampling or RANSAC, random sampling consensus approaches, which are specifically designed to deal with outliers by instead of registering all the points, registering random samples of the points. And finally, there are some approaches that are based on branch and bound techniques, and they provide globally optimal solutions, but they are slower than the other existing methods. Here I've included again, this is just a slide just to show that there are already a lot of different papers and approaches to deal with this problem. This is what I took from this website, and there are tons of papers kind of trying to tackle the similar problem of points in registration in different scenarios. So our algorithm. So in order to kind of provide our algorithm, I'm first going to introduce this one-dimensional case. So imagine that you have 2 point sets, this green point set and this red point set, and the goal is to kind of register. And there are a bunch of outliers. So the empty circles are the outliers, and the goal is to register the red point set onto the green point set. So this is the first algorithm that I'm going to present is what we call exhaustive approach, where we just consider for every pairs of points in red and green, we consider a correspondence between them, and we find the beta based on the ratio. So this is a kind of a hypothetical beta for the case as if this point corresponds to one of the points in this other point set. So we find this beta ij based on the ratio of yi and xj, and then we map all the points in the red point cloud to the space of the green point cloud based on this beta ij, and we compute the hits. The hits are the points that end up somewhere close to an existing point in the green point set. So we do this for every pair, and finally we grab the beta ij, which gives us the most number of hits. And then so we have a proposition in the paper showing that this algorithm recovers the true beta. So the other case, which is a very simple extension of this based on the random sampling consensus idea, is to, instead of consider all the pairs of points, just consider random samples from points at x and y, and compute this hypothetical beta and the hypothetical inliers based on this new parameter, and finally grab the beta that gives the best the highest number of inliers. And in proposition 2, we provide the number of iterations that we need to run this algorithm in order to recover this beta star, an approximation of this beta star. And here we show that as a function of signal to noise ratio on the x-axis, and as a function of the missing data points on the y-axis, what is the accuracy or the recovery rate of the algorithm. And so if the SNR is high, or there are not a lot of missing data points, the accuracy of the method is close to 1. And it breaks down as we increase the SNR or the number of missing data points. So in this other plot, I'm showing as a function of SNR and the number of outliers, and the ratio of outliers, what is the accuracy of the algorithm. And in the right plot, I'm showing the accuracy of our proposed algorithm in the exhaustive case, and 2 different settings of delta parameter, and finally an already existing ICP, which completely breaks down in this scenario where we have a lot of outliers. We can simply extend this algorithm to high dimensions by just considering d samples instead of 1 sample, because we want to solve for a regression problem that is a d by d matrix. This extension, for this extension, we again provide bounds on the number of iterations that we need to run this algorithm to achieve an approximate solution. And this is, although in the worst case it could be exponential, but in our experience we don't need to run it for too many trials to get a good approximation. And so one thing is that we have this new parameter that determines how we call a hit. So this new parameter, I'm showing here that on the x-axis, if we change the new parameter, there's a certain range, which is a reasonable range for this new parameter that gives rise to a very good accuracy. So we don't need to have the optimal nu. The optimal nu has a range. It's not only 1 value, and then setting it to a reasonable range, we can hope that we can recover the beta star. So we have included some recipe to kind of cross-validate this nu in the paper. So this is the results of different algorithms. So on A, I'm showing the unregistered point clouds in red and green. B and C correspond to CPD and ICP, and D is our algorithm. And as you can see, our algorithm is better able to recover the true beta star. So and here I'm showing the difference between unstructured versus adversarial outliers. So here, in this case, we're assuming that the outliers are distributed uniformly in space. But in this other plot, you're assuming that the outliers are basically just the body part of this fish that is just copy-pasted here in the green point set. And in both cases, our algorithm is capable, which is represented in B, is better capable to recover the ground truth beta and not get stuck in a local optimum like this in the adversarial case. We have also included a table that to demonstrate the performance of our algorithm compared to other algorithms, including this homomorphic sensing, which is a globally optimum algorithm. And we have shown that for C. elegans and fish data sets, we outperform existing approaches. Okay, so in summary, what we did in this paper was to introduce the notion of robust regression without correspondence and made a distinction between unstructured and adversarial outliers. And we provided a polynomial algorithm to solve exactly for the one-dimensional case and a randomized algorithm to find an approximate solution in the high dimensions, which is better than pure brute force. And we demonstrated a computational neuroscience application of neuron matching in C. elegans. With that, I would like to thank my co-author, Erdem Varol, who is a postdoc at Columbia University and is on the job market right now, and our funding sources, and my advisor, Diane Peninsky, and the whole lab, as well as you for listening.